Okay, so if you just glanced at the financial news yesterday, you'd think the sky was falling.
Right.
Panic, crash, bloodbath. I mean, we see these headlines every 6 months in tech, don't we? Interest rates twitch and everyone just freaks out. So I have to ask, was yesterday actually significant? Or is this just the market having another one of its mood swings?
I appreciate the skepticism. I really do. And usually I'd probably agree with you. Markets are, emotional. But yesterday, February 3rd, 2026, that was different.
Different how?
It wasn't a mood swing. It was a fundamental repricing of reality.
A repricing of reality. Wow, okay, that is a heavy phrase.
Well, it fits the data.
Yeah.
We didn't just see a little dip. We saw the Nifty IT index. That's the benchmark for Indian tech stocks, drop over 7% in one day.
That's the worst since the pandemic, isn't it?
The worst day since the absolute panic of March 2020. And in the U.S., you had titans like Salesforce and Adobe just shedding, almost 7% each. Freshworks crashed 10%.
And this wasn't a macro thing.
That's the key. The Fed didn't move. No new war started. This was entirely idiosyncratic.
Okay, so if the macro didn't break, what did? Because looking at the wires, the only major news I saw was a product update from Anthropic.
That's it.
Are you telling me a single software update wiped billions of dollars off the global market cap?
Precisely. And that's why the trading desks, I think it was Jeffrey Favuzza over at Jefferies, coined a new term for what we're seeing.
Which is?
The SaaSpocalypse.
SaaSpocalypse. It's catchy, I'll give him that. But come on, it sounds a bit hyperbolic, doesn't it? We've been talking about AI disrupting software for, 3 years now? Why did this update trigger this kind of sell-off when, I don't know, GPT-5 didn't?
Because until yesterday, the whole narrative was that AI helps software companies.
Yeah.
Co-pilots for everyone.
Right. AI inside Salesforce makes Salesforce better.
Exactly. The assumption was AI is a feature. What Anthropic showed yesterday just shattered that narrative.
Yeah.
They demonstrated that AI might not be a feature inside the software. It might be the thing that replaces the software entirely.
And that is the distinction we need to unpack. The shift from AI as a feature to AI as the worker.
You got it. We're moving from the tool age to the agent age. And what the market realized yesterday is that the business models built for tools, specifically the SaaS subscription model, might not actually survive the transition to agents.
Okay, hold on. Before we get to the business model funeral, I want to understand the weapon here. What exactly did Anthropic launch?
So the launch was for something called Claude Cowork.
See, that's what I read. It talked about plugins. To me, that sounds like every other chatbot update we've seen for years. Oh, look, it can check my calendar now. Why is this one so scary?
It's scary because of how it interacts with the computer. In the past, when we talked about integrations, we meant APIs, back-end data pipes.
Sure.
What Anthropic released leverages their computer use capability. So think of it this way. Claude doesn't just read data. It can look at a screen, it can move a cursor, click on buttons, type into fields.
Just like a human would.
Exactly like a human employee.
Yeah.
So it's not asking the software to do something via code. It's literally driving the user interface.
It's driving the interface.
Right. And these plugins they released are designed to execute entire job roles. Take a legal plugin they open source. It's not just summarizing a PDF.
No.
It's logging in to your contract management system, reviewing the clauses against a compliance playbook, actually redlining the document, and then moving the file to the approved folder.
Without a human lawyer ever opening the app.
Without a human lawyer even being awake. And they did the same for finance building models, tracking metrics in Excel or whatever, marketing drafting campaigns, and managing the CMS. The plugin isn't a connector. It's a digital employee profile.
I see. So the fear isn't that the AI is just smart. The fear is that the AI creates a shadow workforce that just bypasses the human user.
And that leads us directly to the SaaSpocalypse.
Right. Okay, let's play devil's advocate. I'm the CEO of a company. I buy Salesforce to manage my customers. If AI makes my team more efficient, that's great. I still need Salesforce to store all the data, right? So why does Salesforce stock tank 7%?
You need the database, yes, but do you need the seat?
The user license.
This is the absolute heart of the panic. The entire B2B software economy, it's built on per-seat pricing.
Yeah.
You hire a sales rep, you pay, $150 a month for their Salesforce seat. You hire a designer, you pay for their Adobe seat.
It's a model based on what they call linear headcount scaling.
Right. The more your company grows, the more humans you hire, the more money you pay the software vendor.
Yeah.
Investors love it.
Because it's predictable.
It's the holy grail.
Mm-hmm.
But now, look at the math if agents take over. Let's say you have a 100-person sales team. Anthropic comes along and says, hey, for the price of 5 humans, our agents can do all the prospecting and data entry that used to require 50 of your junior reps.
So I fire 50 reps.
And you cancel 50 Salesforce licenses?
Ouch. Okay, so Salesforce loses revenue even if my company is doing better than ever.
And it gets even worse. Think about a metric like net dollar retention, or NDR. It's a key valuation metric for SaaS. It measures how much your existing customers spend over time.
And the assumption is it always goes up.
Always. Companies grow, they hire more, they spend more. But if AI breaks that fundamental link between company growth and headcount growth, NDR collapses.
And if NDR collapses?
The valuation multiple collapses with it. You don't pay 10 times revenue for a company that isn't structurally growing its customer spend. That is why you saw that get-me-out style selling yesterday. It wasn't about this quarter's earnings. It was about the terminal value of the company 5 years from now.
You know, that makes this Bloomberg stat I saw make a lot more sense. They said only 71% of software companies beat revenue expectations this season, compared to 85% for the broader tech sector. It's a huge gap.
That is the canary in the coal mine. We are already seeing seat compression. CIOs are looking at their budgets and asking, why am I paying for 500 licenses when only 300 people actually log in every day?
Yeah.
AI is just accelerating that scrutiny.
But surely the big players see this coming. I mean, Salesforce, Microsoft, Adobe, they aren't stupid. They're all pivoting to consumption-based pricing, right? Charging for the AI work itself.
They are trying, but that is a messy, painful transition. It's like asking a newspaper to suddenly switch from subscriptions to paper article. It just wrecks your cash flow. And there's a deeper threat that Andrew Jackson at Ortis Advisors mentioned. He talks about workflow lock-in.
Okay, define that for me.
Well, traditionally, software is sticky because your employees learn the interface, they know where all the buttons are. It's a huge pain to switch to a competitor because you have to retrain everyone.
Right. Nobody wants to be the person who makes the company learn a new ERP system.
Exactly. But if the agent is doing the work, the agent doesn't care about the interface. It doesn't need training. It can learn to navigate Oracle just as easily as it navigates SAP.
So the moat, the whole our software is hard to learn moat, it just evaporates.
It's gone. If your user is a robot, the UI becomes irrelevant. And since the UI is where the brand lives, where the stickiness is, what happens to your competitive advantage?
You just become a dumb database, a commodity.
And commodities do not trade at 50 times earnings.
This brings us to a really interesting take from Sridhar Vembu, the CEO of Zoho. Now, Zoho is a massive SaaS player, so he's right in the blast zone here. But his reaction wasn't defensive at all. It was almost philosophical.
Sridhar is a fascinating character. He's always been a bit of a contrarian. And while everyone else was panicking, he basically came out and said, look, this sauce bubble was going to pop anyway. AI is just the pin.
He pointed out the spending ratios, didn't he?
He did. He highlighted this dirty little secret of the SaaS industry. Most of these companies spend way more on sales and marketing than they do on actual R&D.
So they're not tech companies, they're sales organizations.
They're sales organizations selling, frankly, average software. He argues the whole VC model just inflated these valuations based on unsustainable growth metrics.
And he had some advice for his own employees that I found pretty jarring.
Calmly contemplate our death.
Yeah. That's not exactly a hang-in-there motivational poster.
No, it's pure stoicism.
Yeah.
He's telling them that if they cling to the old model, the per-seat sales-heavy model, they will die. The only way to survive is to accept that the old world is gone and just relentlessly adapt. It's about becoming fearless. But that adaptation is going to be brutal, especially for the sectors that rely on labor arbitrage.
Which brings us to the other side of the world. We talked about the U.S. software giants, but the crash in Indian IT stocks Infosys, LTI, Mindtree was even more severe, down over 8%. Now, usually Indian IT is seen as super resilient. They handled Y2K, the dot-com bust, 2008. Why is this so different?
It comes down to what they actually sell. The Mises companies sell the shovel.
And Indian IT companies sell the digging.
Exactly. They sell the human effort, the maintenance, the testing, the document processing, the ticket management.
It's labor arbitrage. We can do this manual task cheaper than you can in New York.
Right. But AI introduces intelligence arbitrage. It doesn't matter how cheap the human labor is in Bangalore. If an AI agent costs fractions of a cent and works instantly, 204/7.
So the cost advantage of offshoring is being completely undercut by the cost advantage of automation.
And the speed advantage, that's the real kicker. When companies moved to the cloud, that was a 10-year migration. Indian IT firms had time to retrain staff, build out cloud practices, and pivot. This AI shift, it's happening in months.
Yeah.
The velocity of this change is what has investors so terrified.
JPMorgan had a note about budget reallocation that I thought was very telling. They said companies aren't necessarily cutting their total tech spend, but they are moving it.
Exactly. The pie isn't shrinking, but the slices are changing. Enterprises are taking money away from incremental manpower, hiring more testers, more support staff, and they're pouring it into platform efficiency and AI implementation.
They want outcomes, not hours.
Outcomes, not hours. That feels like the tagline for this entire shift.
Yeah.
It really is. If you're an IT services firm billing by the hour and an AI reduces the hours needed to test a piece of code by 90%, your revenue just implodes. You have to switch to outcome-based pricing, but that is a much, much riskier business model.
Okay, so let's synthesize this. We have U.S. software companies facing a seat count cliff. We have Indian IT companies facing a billable hour cliff. It feels like the entire tech stack is being forced to justify its very existence in a world where the user isn't even a human anymore.
That is the perfect synthesis. What we're seeing in the stock market is a time horizon mismatch.
Okay, what does that mean in plain English?
It means the market is pricing in the worst-case scenario today, even though the technology is just starting to roll out. Look, companies haven't actually fired their legal departments yet. Anthropic's agents are brand new. There will be bugs, there will be hallucinations, but investors are looking 5 years out and realizing the math just doesn't hold.
So the panic is rational, even if it feels premature.
It's a rational anticipation of a very real threat. Morgan Stanley looked at the legal sector specifically, and they labeled this Anthropic launch a potential negative for incumbent software makers.
Which is banker speak for, this is going to hurt.
Exactly. They see that if the agent becomes the primary way work gets done, the value accrues to the agent provider Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, not the software tool underneath.
The value moves to the intelligence layer, not the application layer.
Precisely. If I could just tell Claude, hey, run a marketing campaign targeting Gen Z, and Claude uses 5 different software tools to do it, I don't really care what those tools are. I'm paying Claude. The underlying software just gets commoditized.
Which turns these big, expensive software suites into, what, utility?
Invisible plumbing. Essential, maybe, but low margin. You don't pay a premium for the pipes in your wall. You pay for the water. SaaS companies have spent 20 years convincing us they are the destination. Agents turn them into simple infrastructure.
That is a very humbling thought for an industry that's been the master of the universe for 2 decades.
It is.
Yeah.
And it brings us right back to Sridhar Vembu's point. The companies that survive will be the ones that accept this new reality, the ones that figure out how to be valuable when they aren't the center of attention anymore.
Or the ones that successfully build their own agents.
If they can. But that's a whole new arms race against the foundation model companies. And right now, Anthropic looks like it has the lead.
It's a fascinating, if slightly terrifying, moment. We are literally watching the rules of the game get rewritten in real time. But I want to leave our listeners with one final thought, something that's been nagging at me since I saw that demo of the agent moving the mouse.
Go for it.
So we're worried about AI agents logging into our software to do our jobs. We're asking if we should even pay for the software if a robot is the one using it. But let's take it one step further. If the AI understands the code and the AI understands the workflow, how long until the AI just writes its own micro software to do the job?
You mean bypassing the commercial software entirely?
Exactly. Why would I pay for a bloated CRM license if Claude can just spin up a lightweight database and a simple interface for me in 10 seconds? If the agent can code, does the software industry, as we know it, this business of selling prepackaged code, even need to exist?
That
No.
is the true existential question. If the user is also the builder, the package itself doesn't matter anymore. And that is a deep dive for another day.
Indeed it is. For now, keep an eye on those tickers and maybe go hug your local software developer. They might need it. Thanks for listening.
Until next time.